So, Wall Street cooled off a bit on Friday, but the mood stayed pretty upbeat with records still fresh in everyone's mind and the Fed's big decision just days away. Hey everyone, it's Saturday morning, September 13th, and welcome back to Capital Markets Quickie. I'm your host, Endrit Sella, here to break down yesterday's market action in just 2 minutes. Quick note before we dive in. Today's episode is brought to you by AMF Capital Asset Management Frankfurt. Learn more about our funds and strategies at amf-capital.de. Alright, let's get started. The Nasdaq climbed about 0.5%, notching another record close as Tesla hit its highest level in 7 months. The Standard & Poor's 500 slipped just below the flatline, while the Dow fell around 0.6% after all three indexes had rallied to records on Thursday, with the Dow topping 46,000 for the first time ever. Even so, the Dow still managed a weekly gain of almost 1%, its first positive week in 3, while the Standard & Poor's 500 and Nasdaq had their strongest run since early August. Investors have been sifting through weeks of economic data to guess what the Fed might do next. The labor market looks shaky. The economy added just over 20,000 jobs last month, and weekly jobless claims jumped to their highest level in nearly 4 years. At the same time, inflation is still sticky, with consumer prices rising again and evidence building that tariffs are making their way into household costs. The University of Michigan's Consumer Sentiment Survey didn't help much either. Confidence dropped more than expected in September, and long-run inflation expectations jumped to 3.9% as Americans voiced worries about tariffs. Still, traders believe inflation is soft enough for the Fed to start cutting. Markets are putting the odds of a quarter-point cut at more than 90% when the Fed meets this week. And around 75% of traders are betting the central bank will cut the equivalent of 3 times before year-end. So, markets are hovering near records, the Fed is in the spotlight, and investors are bracing for what could be a very busy week ahead. Alright, that wraps up today's Capital Markets Quickie. Join me again Monday morning for more market updates. See you then.